Hello viewers, I'm Ron Grant coming to you live and direct from Tortola in the Virgin Islands. Thank you so much for your time. You're watching 284 Media. The current economic times are begging for entrepreneurs and innovators to collaborate and craft a more sustainable, equitable, and profitable future. Of course, countries that depend on tourism like the Virgin Islands and import were amongst the hardest hit due to the COVID-19 pandemic. Of course, these events encourage such events. Bouncing back are the best way to get the ball rolling through recovery and into opportunity. I'm honored today to be joined by two of the Caribbean's finest. They are HE Ambassador Dr. Andre Thomas, co-chair and CEO of Upturn, Funds Caribbean, and Ms. Jennifer Highland, the Chief of Communications and Head of Stakeholder Engagement. We are today discussing the Caribbean Investment Summit, which will be held in Barbados from August 25th to 27th. Take a look. We'll be right back after this quick commercial break.
Upturn Funds Caribbean, in association with Republic Bank, presents the Upturn Funds Caribbean Investment Summit, August 25th through 27th, 2022, at the Hilton Barbados Resort. With over 20 global speakers, expert panelists in over 8 sectors, Upturn Funds is bringing customized investment and capital financing for public and private sector projects in manufacturing, green energy, U.S. mortgage finance for commercial and residential property, and more. Be at the inaugural summit, choose your preferred rate, and register today at leadershipaxheadconference.com or call 246-429-0895 for more details. Upturn Funds Caribbean Investment Summit 2022, a new era of Caribbean economic transformation.
Viewers, welcome back and thank you so much for sticking with us. As promised, I am joined by Dr. Thomas and Ms. Jennifer Highland. I want to thank you both for your time. Welcome to 284 Media, and even though it's virtual, welcome to the British Virgin Islands.
Thank you very much,
Thank
Ron.
you.
It's a pleasure to be here.
The pleasure is all mine. Dr. Thomas, I want to begin with you. Of course, the Caribbean Investment Summit being held in Barbados from August 25th to the 27th is the first of its kind. Can you provide a background into the summit and tell us about the purpose and mission?
Okay, thank you so much, Ron. It's a real pleasure to be with you on this program. And I say a warm welcome to friends that I have in the British Virgin Islands. They're going to be surprised to see me. Now, the purpose for the conference is to meet a major gap in economic leadership in the region. And let me explain why. Now, when you study economic development, you realize that economic development is really based on income generating, revenue generating ideas. Because to understand an economy, you need to understand that the best way to understand an economy is to understand where and how money flows. Now, economics and economic development is sustained by economic ideas, but these ideas have a shelf life. And there are times economic ideas are coming to the end of their shelf life. And when that happens, good administration and good management is not enough, because administration is the efficient execution of tasks. Uh, Management is the optimization of material resources, financial resources, and human resources to meet predetermined goals. But leadership is is using the resources of today and creating a greater tomorrow with them. So leadership is creating with and through people. So the problems that we face in our economy can only be solved by leadership. It can only be solved by creativity. And we need to create new revenue streams and come up with new economic ideas. So the purpose of this conference is to join with the critical mass of men and women who are seeking to address these problems. Economic revolutions, economic turnarounds are always brought about by critical mass. And we are part of that critical mass that's actually seeking to bring these ideas, these revenue streams, these opportunities to Caribbean people, hence the conference.
Understand, and of course we know that it's going to be held in Barbados. Any particular reason why Barbados has been the choice for this first inaugural event?
Well, I am married to a Barbadian. No,
Fair enough.
I actually live in Barbados. I
Understand.
live in Barbados. So I live in Barbados and our head office is in Barbados. That's why. But this is a conference. This is the Caribbean wide conference, but we will be having conferences that are aimed at local economies. So our next conference is going to be in the great nation of Guyana. And then
Okay.
next one will be in Trinidad. So we move around.
Well, I'm happy to hear that you're going to be really sharing this opportunity with other Caribbean islands within the region. Ms. Highland, I want to go over and segue to you, of course. There's a lot of different avenues that have really transpired to be able to put this magnificent event on. I know that it is virtual for persons who can't attend, but I want to talk about the speakers. You have over 20 speakers. Tell us about the speakers and some of the areas that are going to be discussed during this summit.
Thank you, Ron. Yes. Okay, so the speakers have been specifically selected. What we have done as an organization is to look at, from the outside in, and look at the critical issues that are affecting Caribbean islands and creating our partnerships and JV partnerships that we have to solve or to address the issues that are happening in the Caribbean. So specifically, your island may have a specific challenge, and what
Yes.
we would do is pair that with your country and curate specific the sectors that we have. So, for example, we have first of all we have our keynote speaker, who is going to be the U.S. Congressman Mark Green, and he is the author and sponsor of the Western Hemispheric Nearshoring Act with respect to manufacturing. As it relates to manufacturing, a lot of skilled artisans and so forth who would have lost jobs during the height of the pandemic.
Of course.
And I just want to go back to say that every single individual has been have been affected by the COVID situation. Whether you're a CEO or you're selling coconuts at the side of the street, everybody has been affected. So we have looked at all of the sectors that we are bringing to bear and addressing situations relative to government policy, and how those policies will affect, as you say, the small man from
Of
all
course.
social economic standing. So, for example, Dr. Thomas can speak more specifically, but we do have, and I can break it down for you in terms of the areas that we will be focusing on. There's maritime and road transportation. That's an issue with respect to the Caribbean, interconnectivity and linking the Caribbean so that we can really truly become one economy. We had the CSME for so long to try to pull that together, and CARICOM has been helping. So we are looking at specific aspect of maritime and road transportation. And then you talk about green energy. Our summit is really focused on helping the Caribbean meet the UN Sustainable Development Goals. And there's specific areas, because there's solar energy, there's crypto mining, and Dr. Thomas will speak more specifically to that. And then you have the issue of agriculture. How are we going to bring down the import costs that affects the Caribbean? Our food import bill is very, very high. So we are going to be speaking to agriculture, construction and infrastructure development with financing. And then we have a really interesting one, which is the U.S. mortgage financing for commercial and residential real estate. I'm just listing them so that Dr. Thomas can speak to those particular areas. And what I want to mention at the top is that we have created, in terms of the affordability for every budget. And so if you want to participate just per session, you can go on our website and you can see the cost for just the virtual, just to attend one session, because there are 9 sectors and you may not be particularly interested in agriculture, but you might want to find out about the U.S. mortgage financing. And so we've looked at the summit and break it down so that it can fit every need and every budget and every interest for those who want to attend. And so I'll come back later and speak to the schedule and our website, our registration, where you can get all of that information.
Wonderful. Dr. Thomas, I'd like you to go into detail in a bit in some of these particular areas, like, of course, the infrastructure development, mining, energy, agriculture. Speak to these topics and the importance of them to the region.
Absolutely. Okay, so I'm going to start with manufacturing. We have our keynote speaker is Congressman Matt Green, and he's a
Yes.
senior ranking member of the Western Hemisphere Committee, and he has authored the Nearshore Act, which seeks to bring manufacturing jobs for the U.S. economy from China to the Caribbean. Now, these have effect on the small business and medium business. I give an example. We have a JV partner of ours who, before we began the relationship, was looking at buying his steel for his and framing his steel for his prefab housing business from Trinidad because it
Okay.
was cheaper than China. Okay, so they were looking, it's near shore rather than offshore. So there's a lot that can happen near shore. Now, so we need to think and 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 and, uh, and understand that now there's a revenue stream that's available that every island can participate in. That's number one. Number two, you then have real estate. Now, there are 11 million plus people of the Caribbean diaspora in the US. And what we've done, we have partnered with one of the largest in the top three mortgage finance companies in the US to provide mortgages for US citizens of of Caribbean descent. And they can now have mortgages to purchase homes in the Caribbean. And from August, we're going to launch it. And so we're inviting, okay, real estate agents and real estate brokers to actually sign up, and they can become agents and real estate developers. Now, we also are covering with these mortgages commercial as well. So it's both residential and commercial. Think of the billions of dollars that will bring in as the actual diaspora can actually meaningfully leverage the credit they've built up in the USA and contribute back to the Caribbean because they currently do through their remittances. And there are Caribbean nations in which remittances from the US are a major part of GDP. So that's number two. Number three, you have the mineral okay sector, which is the mining sector. Most Caribbean gold and mineral concession owners never move to exploitation. And those who do move do so with JV relationships with foreign investors who
Okay.
usually would own 90 to 80% of the concessions. And the Caribbean person will own about 10% because the foreign investor will take the risk and raise the finance. What we're now doing, we're now bringing the finance options to the Caribbean concession owner. And we're going to teach the Caribbean concession owner how to go to international banks themselves.
Okay.
And so that more of that money can stay in the region. There's no reason why a businessman from the British Virgin Islands cannot go to Suriname and go to Guyana and be a gold miner. There are lots of concessions available. That's available if they know how to access international financing. Because that's number three. Number four, you have the area of waste to diesel. I'm very excited about that. Now, our JV partner in this sector um, was given a grant of $50 million by the Pentagon to build plastics waste to diesel plants for use in military bases in Iraq and Afghanistan. And they did that successfully. They have now scaled up and they've put a plant in the DR. The plant in the DR was installed at an investment of 220 million, okay, US dollars. The plant is scalable, and what they do, they move the waste and transform it into biodiesel and sell it in future contracts to Europe. And they it's extremely profitable. They have a turnover of over $76 million a
Wow.
year, and that's a very small plant. That plant can be in the BVI because the plant is scalable. The plant is scalable, so you can actually create revenue from your waste with this plant, and we have the investment dollars to back it. So we definitely would love for the team that manages your waste to attend the conference. We have a solution for them, and they can create revenue. Um, you also then have the energy sector. Now we have a subsidiary called Zamanova, and what we do, we buy negative energy. Okay, that's the energy that is not used between 1 a.m. and 5 a.m. in the morning. We buy that energy that is normally shedded, and we can use that energy to do crypto mining. It doesn't add any cost to anybody. It just creates, revenue. So that's another sector. In the area of infrastructure, we work significantly in this particular sector, but there's something that I think is very interesting because of the tourism product that you have. We have formed a JV partnership with the leading modular mid-rise and high-rise building company in the US. And they built, up to 3 years ago, the tallest modular building in the world was built by them. Now, they can build your hotel in their factory and install that hotel, a 10-story hotel, in days, in days, cutting your costs by up to 40%,
Okay.
reducing your build time by more than half. They're going to be at the conference. Um, we have uh, the building of roads and ports and bridges. We work with a company that have a JV relationship with them, and that they provide 100% financing. And so there's so much that's at the conference. But then another thing we're going to do, we have major banks. The largest bank in Brazil is going to be there. We are going to demystify project financing. So major project financing agencies are going to be there. So this is key because most entrepreneurs get affected by the fact that if the local banks are not willing to lend in an area, they don't know how to play in a higher league. There is a whole world of undeployed capital that men and women from the British Virgin Islands can access if they know how. We're going to demystify to them and show them how.
Thank you so much, Dr. Thomas. And I do know that not only is there a high level of experience and expertise in this summit, but over some US $5 billion in investment will be in the room for the Caribbean economic development. Of course, Ms. Highland, I want to go specifically now to the signing up of this conference. There are virtual options, but how can persons who are interested in looking from across the region, how can they get an opportunity to be a part of this amazing experience?
Absolutely. Well, firstly, what I want to state is in terms of participation, we've made the conference available to from government, and the participation and support of governments across the Caribbean has been quite heartening. And I believe that is because they recognize that the high economic impact of the investments for the projects can help the trajectory of the Caribbean as well. And therefore, what we've done is to create packages for the private sector, corporate packages. For example, if the organization wants to send individuals, then for every 5 persons registered, there's a free virtual component that you receive. And then we work with private sectors here in Barbados to offer specific code discounts for the private sector bodies, because the private sector bodies would have extended memberships who they would have their economic goals and that they would have communicated to their membership in terms of what they want to achieve. So within that group, we've also made special discounts available. So what, from private sector, government, right down to individuals, what we've done for the virtual component is to offer, again, if you want to just attend one session, that would be just $100 for virtual per session. If you want to attend for the full day, maybe you've seen something on the website, you may be into agriculture per se, but that you want to find out about mineral mining. You can sign up for an entire day, a full day pass at $200, and then the virtual full 3-day pass is $550. And these are our virtual rates. And you can get this information from leadership@headconference.com, and you can register. You mentioned if we have a close-off date, it's actually August 23rd, so that we can create all of this information. But August 23rd is the deadline that we are targeting for individuals. But if there are persons who want to still fly in to Barbados, then we've also created with our specific hotel partners to give discounted room rates. Some come with breakfast, some without breakfast. And again, that information is on our website. You just want the hospitality, and you just click where to stay, and you'll see the preferred hotels who are going to give you discounted rates for your stay here in Barbados. So we've thought about the entire needs of the persons who will be attending, and definitely the virtual component. And if you're flying in, you can stay with the hotels that we've been able to negotiate a special discount for you.
Well, Ms. Highland and Mr. Thomas, I want to thank you so much for, and of course your team, for seeing it fit to host this magnificent Caribbean Investment Summit. Of course, coming out and making our way out of the pandemic across the region, there have been many challenges that countries, businesses have faced and continue to face. And I do think that this is paramount, it is important, and it is timely that investors get to meet with government and businesses across the region to understand how we can all better work together, and of course get ourselves to a point where we are making sure that we understand where the financing can be available, the different industries, how they impact and influence our environment, and most importantly, not forgetting the small businesses across the region who too are at a very pivotal point. So I want to commend you guys on that first. Thank you so much for coming and discussing this event. I wish you much success at the Caribbean Investment Summit Barbados, which is going to be held in Barbados from the 25th to the 27th. I want to note that you have a number of organizing partners. You mentioned about hotel partners and summit sponsors. Of course, those sponsors can also be seen on the website. Thank you both so much for your time, and I look forward to hearing amazing things coming out of this summit.
Thank you so much, Ron. It's been a pleasure, and thank you for the time.
You're most welcome.
Thank you so much, Ron. It's been a real great pleasure being on your program.
You guys are welcome, and I will see you later. Viewers, that's all the time we have. Of course, we will be providing an update after the summit as to the happenings and, of course, some of the discussions that have been coming out of this event. I'm Ron Grant reporting for 284 Media. Have a beautiful rest of the day. Bye-bye.